The USMNT have lost to South Korea 2-0 in what was another embarrassing performance by Pochettino and the men in the red, white, and blue. How many more performances like this are we going to see? There's going to be 10 more games until the World Cup starts for the USMNT, who luckily automatically qualify because we're hosting. If it wasn't for that, we might not even qualify. Honestly, this team might not have qualified for the World Cup had it not been for the host countries having the auto qualify. But what an absolute disaster. And a lot of us were very concerned just based on what roster selection Pochettino had picked for these two games and questioned what he was thinking. Why didn't he try to bring the closest to an A team first selection team that you could possibly get? And why was his comments about wanting to give people still a chance to crack the team, win a job, break into the 23, 26 man roster when it's literally September and the World Cup is in 9 months? Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are only 280 subscribers away from 10,000. And once we hit 10,000, we'll be doing a giveaway for FC26 that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Now, back to the video. The roster should be close to 90% picked at this point, if we're being honest. And this should honestly be like tune-up games, building chemistry, trying to get some confidence, and just preparing yourself for the World Cup. But that's not what we're seeing. This is just a complete and utter waste of time. And in the first half, the USMNT stunk the joint up. Okay? Stunk the joint up. I'm going to be honest with you. Outside of Matt Freeze's one save, I really don't think anyone in the first half played well for the USMNT. I think they all played terribly, terribly. And even Matt Freeze was not the best, right? I don't think he was terrible, but he wasn't the best. The USMNT only had 3 shots in the first half, 3 shots, one on target. Josh Sargent, we got to start with Josh Sargent, right? Josh Sargent is a guy who has been given chance after chance with the USMNT, and he has never capitalized on his opportunities. This past summer, Patrick Agyemang got the starts. A lot of people are critical of him, including myself. I don't want to spend time talking about him, but we thought if Josh Sargent had been starting, or Pepe or Ballo, that with the service or what the opportunities they had this summer, they would have been able to score several more goals than what Patrick Agyemang scored. But Josh Sargent has been playing very well for Norwich. He had like 4 or 5 goals in 4 or 5 games. He's been playing very well. And we were wondering if he would get a chance, one more chance to shine under Pochettino and to win his spot on this World Cup roster. Well, he gets to start and he just played extremely scared. He played almost like he knew his job was on the line and he got nervous and he folded. He folded. He choked. He folded. And it just wasn't good enough for someone who's trying to win a World Cup spot. He disappointed. And I would say after today, Josh Sargent's chances of making the USMNT World Cup roster is officially plummeted to an all-time low, and he will most likely not make it. I thought the midfield was bad. I thought Tyler Adams was terrible. I thought Sebastian Berhalter was really bad. Timothy Weah had a couple sparks, but nothing, not good enough. He was bad too. Diego Luna in the first half. Where is the Diego Luna that we had seen with the spark that gave this team heart and kind of like that jolt of energy? Where is that Diego Luna at? Where's he at? He's been non-existent for a while now. Where is he? Ever since he choked in that Mexican final in the Gold Cup, he's been a different player. Where has he been? He's been MIA. He sucked. And I don't know if he's guaranteed to get a spot at this point just because of how bad he's been. And I want to talk about the back line. We will get to Pulisic here in a second for the first half, but the back line, Tim Ream cannot be starting. Tim Ream cannot be starting in 2026. He cannot. There has to be a better option than Tim Ream. Has to be a better option than Tim Ream. There has to be. And Tristan Blackman definitely is not it. Tristan Blackman started. I think he's a very average MLS defender. Nothing special. The fact he got a call up was very surprising, and he was terrible today. He gave up a goal. He was bad. The best player in this game was Son Heung-min. I think he's the best player outside of South Korea's goalkeeper. South Korea's goalkeeper went crazy, honestly, but Son Heung-min was the best player on the pitch in this game. He had a goal and he had an assist. He was in the first half. He was the best player in this game. He dominated. He dominated the USMNT. They dominated us. And there was the joke because obviously we have a bunch of MLS players on the USMNT playing today. And the guy who dominated and was the best player on the pitch was an MLS player, Son Heung-min. He dominated us today. Wasn't even close. Hopefully we'll see that carry over to the LAFC, or he can get some better service from his teammates at LAFC, and he'll be able to play like he did today with LAFC because he looked spectacular today. He was great today. Best player on the pitch. Player of the game for me. Son Heung-min. Goalkeeper, close second, though. Very good performance by the South Korean goalkeeper. And I thought Serginho Dest showed some positive things. He's clearly the best right back on the team. I have no worries about him. Everyone else around him, not good. But let's talk about Christian Pulisic, right? And I do want to talk about the second half because we did see some substitutions that made a little bit of a difference. But I want to talk about Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic complained this whole summer trying to play the victim. He didn't want to play in the Gold Cup. He wanted to play in the 2 friendlies and leave. He's putting out the Stock U series about the criticism he's gotten. Timothy Weah was saying that people in the media are evil, or the people that are calling him out are evil. And it's just a very, very victim mentality that Christian Pulisic has when we have high expectations for our best player to perform and deliver for this national team, especially if we want to get as far as we want to go, right? He stunk the joint up today. He did absolutely nothing for the USMNT today. Nothing. Zero. His decline is honestly historic of how much he is underdelivered for this team. Because he's a guy that we're counting on. If we want to do anything remotely historic or have any type of success in 2026, we have to have Christian Pulisic play better than what he's playing as. He's got to step up. We got to have healthy, peak Milan Pulisic playing if we want to advance far. And he sucked today. And that just makes things worse that he complained and had his dad on the docuseries and all this stuff, playing a victim, and then goes out there and looks disinterested, bad passes, no creativity, no really chances in the attack. He just looked terrible. He was bad. He was not a good player today. And it just piles on and just shows why all the USMNT fans calling him out are validated by his lack of passion and his effort, and it showed today, or his commitment to this team. It showed today. I mean, it did. It showed today. So I'm very disappointed in Christian Pulisic. His bad run for the USMNT optically just continues, and I expect it to continue all the way up until the 2026 World Cup, which we'll talk a little bit about after we finish this post game because it's not looking very good. Now, in the second half, they made a couple substitutions. They brought on Ballo. They brought on Freeman. They brought on Chris Richards. They brought on Zendejas. And I honestly think of all the guys who came on the second half, I thought Ballo looked really good. Ballo created a chance or two in the first couple minutes he was in the game. He looked dangerous. He looked more explosive. He had better. He was setting players up. He had a beautiful pass inside the box. I think it was to Christian Pulisic. He looked literally 1,000 times better than Josh Sargent. Like, you could just tell that Ballo was in a different tier than Josh Sargent. Like, Josh Sargent isn't playing. He isn't even playing the same sport as Ballo. Like Pepe and Ballo are way ahead of any other strikers on this team. It's not even close. So he came on and he made a pretty immediate impact. He looked good out of the gate. Ballo. And you kind of thought, okay, well, now that we have a competent striker, maybe things will be a little different. Maybe this is what we need to see. Maybe this is what could ignite this attack because the attack was non-existent. The attack was non-existent most of this game. It just wasn't. It was non-existent. And also too, Zendejas, he looked way better than Diego Luna. Like he was active, he was chasing, he was creating, he was defending. Like he just looked so much better, and the effort from Zendejas was incredible. Now, the funny thing about Zendejas is, I mentioned earlier about Sargent. Look, he's a guy fighting for a spot because he only has maybe this might be his last chance to get a World Cup spot, and he played the where he choked. He did not live up to the moment. Zendejas is the opposite. He knows that this is probably one of his last chances, and he played up to the moment. He made the most. He made the most of his 19, 20 minutes he played in this game. He made the most of it. He looked. I thought that Alex Zendejas looked good. I thought he looked good in this match. I thought he looked good, and I think he was way better than Diego Luna. And he deserves to play and start in the next match against Japan, in my opinion. Chris Richards came in, and obviously he's our best center back. There was a cross and a set piece from Sebastian Berhalter that Chris Richards should have finished. He should have headed it in, but he missed it. That was a really bad missed opportunity by Chris Richards. But he only played 28 minutes, and honestly, I don't think Son Heung-min was out of the game, and South Korea really wasn't really pushing the ball forward like they were in the first 50 to 60 minutes of the game. So really didn't learn too much about Chris Richards. Nothing that we don't already know. Chris Richards is obviously the best center back. That's set in stone. Christian Roldan played, didn't really notice him too much. Midfield today was just really, really, really bad for the USMT. Really bad. And this is I want to get on to Pochettino. Pochettino does not know the player pool for the USMNT. He is relying way too much on MLS players, and I'm not against calling in MLS players. I'm for calling good MLS players in, not bad ones or mediocre MLS players like he's doing. I'm not cool with that. But it's like he's relying way too much on other people's opinions on who he should call in. And you really can see that because there's a lot of guys who should be here who are not. Aiden Morris should be at this camp instead of Christian Roldan. Nothing against Christian Roldan, but Aiden Morris is good. He's been playing great in the championship. And it's just stuff like that that really makes you wonder what he's thinking, who he's relying on for his information. And based on everything I've seen, we're probably going to lose to Japan. It's probably going to be something similar to what we watched tonight. And I'll be honest, I think we're going to get grouped. This is probably the lowest point of the USMNT that I've watched since 2017, 2018. It really is. It's just been bad run after bad run after bad run. And we thought when we were set free from the shackles of Greg Berhalter that we were going to move in a new direction and get the most of our talent. But instead, we're selecting lesser talents with a supposedly better coach and performing horribly. And I just don't see that changing. I just think we're in for a rude awakening. Maybe not even a rude awakening because most of us are expecting this. We're in for a very bad performance, a lackluster performance against in the World Cup in 2026, and it's really a shame that this is what's going to happen, especially by what was built up and all these players of where they're at in their careers and what they could have been and hosting in the United States. It's just a huge missed opportunity, and it's just very, very sad and disheartening to see what's going on. We only have 10 games left until the World Cup, and I don't feel good about it at all. I know you guys probably don't feel good about it at all. How would you guys rank today's game? Who did you like? Who did you dislike? Who was the best player for the USMNT? I don't really think anybody was except for Zendejas or Ballo. Those are only two guys that impressed me. But who impressed you? Do you agree with me that Son Heung-min was the best player on the pitch? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, or if you're a sad USMNT fan like me, make sure you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.